positive stuff. And I know that I'm not saying you'll be excited about this because I know that you're not a United fan, of course. But United are on the edge of announcing the deal for Onana. He has, in principle, agreed to the contracts officially, 4 years plus one. The medical is scheduled to happen in the next day or so. But United are moving into 2023, signing potentially one of the best goalkeepers in the world, brilliant with his feet. How good a move. I mean, you're someone, the reason I say that to you is you're someone that's called out De Gea now for 2 seasons, that Man United needed a better goalkeeper, a more modern goalkeeper. How big a transfer, in your opinion, is this for United, and how transformative do you think it will be to how we play?
This is huge for the way you guys are going to play, because it's now going to allow you guys to just be a little bit more forward with somebody who can also not only start off attacks from the back. You're going to see moments where teams are under it. You're going to see quicker transitions with the goalkeeper being able to spray the ball from distance. It's almost going to be like another midfielder on the pitch, with Onana now being there, being able to start your attacks from deep. You might even find situations where you're going to just see the smoothness in your defending because of the ability that they trust the goalkeeper more. They're able to give him the ball in more dangerous situations, and he's able to get out of those situations. Just the little things that De Gea was not able to do kind of put you guys under shackles at times for your ability attacking wise and defensively. And those shackles are now going to be released. And another major thing, relationships. I love to talk about relationships in football. Former manager of the player you're going to be signing, and he's managed him before at Ajax. He's worked with him at Ajax. He's one of the guys who made him as big as he is at Ajax. So that is another massive deal for you. Ten Hag already worked with him. They're not going to be as big of an issue having to get him to used to the way you guys are going to be playing, because he might have played a similar way at Ajax. And just the defensive awareness and ability to get yourself out of sticky situations with the keeper who can now come out of the box and help you out, in addition to what he can do for you inside the box. So you're not going to get caught out as many times in transition also. So it's a huge thing for you guys on the defensive end and the offensive end. It's crazy how much of a difference a ball-playing goalkeeper can make in today's game.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that teams will press us less just because of Onana. We will get pressed less, which means there'll be less mistakes in defenders. You create more attacks. Man United fans will really see a difference. Now, Onana will make some mistakes this year on the ball. There'll be some goals that go in where we say, probably should have saved that. How do I know this? Because every single goalkeeper in the Premier League will have those exact same mistakes and moments next year. So is he going to be impenetrable? Make no 0 mistakes? Absolutely not. So I know the agendas are going to start. There's already Man United fans. I saw one Man United fan online today state this. Listen to this. I thought it was Lee Gunner with the Man United account. He said, buying Onana proves that Erik ten Hag is a fraud manager. His reasoning was because it shows Erik ten Hag can't adapt his system. He needs to buy people to make his system work.
So he's calling him a checkbook manager.
Well, what made me laugh about it is, well, that means Fergie buying Van Persie was because Fergie was a bad manager. Pep buying Haaland is because actually he's a bad manager and he had to find a player to score more goals to help him win things. That basically means every single transfer you ever make, if it makes your system work, that's the level of insanity and delusion that's going to run for a lot of people's minds. I literally saw that. I couldn't believe what I was reading. So I know the agendas are going to start against him. And by the way, that's from a guy who I used to follow, who's been De Gea out for 5 years. But everything he does gets spun into a negative. But yeah, look, for me, I just sort of feel like this is going to take Man United to another level. We will be, of course, we have to get other positions filled as well, but this man will gain us an extra 10 points this year. An extra 10 points from what we already got will be that much better. And sometimes it's going to be subtle. It might be a game where he barely makes a save and people go, well, how did he help? It would just be the amount of attacks that we get.
Everything okay?
Here's something. Sorry, TV on. I'm alone in this building, and I could hear a woman's voice. I was panicking. It's the TV in the other room, guy Wimbledon, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" So yeah, I'm really happy with it. There's a comment here from Lucky Singh who says, "Terry, you only care about social media accounts, not changing mentality. Trophies. I've not mentioned social media accounts. My talk about Man United being the most famous and most big, the pressure is derived from the size of the fan base and the amount that's spoken about the players on social media and by the media. They can't handle that pressure to help us win those major trophies. Until people can handle the pressure of playing for our club, the trophies, which should be the end result, are never going to come. So the mentality's got to be right ahead of time. There we go, my friend.
What about this? Let me just say this. I feel like a lot of people are looking at Onana. They're saying to themselves, he's coming in. How much are you paying for him again? 50 something, 55 million?
42 million pounds.
42 million pounds. Let's be honest. You see Kepa, he went for double that. So based on that, or close to double that, based on that, you're getting a good deal on your goalkeeper. You're improving your squad massively. If you don't improve in other areas, people can't now just say, "Oh, we didn't make enough signings." Because at the end of the day, Onana's step one. This is only your second year. I don't think you guys are going from where you were last year to challenging for the league title this season. But of course, Onana is going to be a step forward towards your rebuild and where you guys want to be. Like I just think people want everything to happen so quickly in today's world. Everything, just give me a quick solution to every problem. They almost think everything is like Chelsea, where you finish ninth one year, the next year you win the league. It doesn't happen like that all the time. So there's gonna have to be a level of patience. And the biggest difference is, you know how people get nervy when you're watching the game and the goalkeeper has the ball? With De Gea, you got nervous a lot. You're not going to be nervous with Onana now. You're going to have trust when he receives the ball under pressure. You're going to have so much more trust. And when you're watching these games, you're not going to be like, kick it long. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to be more trusting that they're going to do it. And there's going to be mistakes. Ramsdale did it. Everyone does it. But those things come with it. And I don't think Onana is that far off from being one of the better goalkeepers in the league.
There's a super chat here that says, Terry, do you think it's too late for the sale, even if it happens to affect the transfer window? Also, do you see the Casemiro clip where he said that he thinks Rashford could win the Golden Boot / Ballon d'Or? I didn't see that clip. I mean, look, Rashford, if the team improved, Rashford could score even more goals. I'd love Rashford to win it. I don't know if he ever will. There are players in the world that are better than. We all know that the Ballon d'Or isn't awarded to the best player in the world. It's given to the
popularity competition.
Well, partly, but it's also given to the best player that season. So, if every year it was given to the best player in the world, then it would only ever go. Messi and Ronaldo pretty much won it every year, but it's because their performances were there. Does that make sense? If we all decide today that Mbappe is the best player in the world, next season, if he has a poor season, it doesn't stop him from being the best player in the world. He didn't have a good season, so it's based on seasons. But yeah, I listen. Casemiro is going to talk his own players up like that. Is the sale too late? No, the sale is never too late, even if it happens after the window. It could be too late to affect the window then, but as long as the sale goes through with at least a week remaining, it will impact the club. We'll go out and get somebody big.
Do you think he plays against Arsenal?
Who?
Onana.
Probably. What date's that? 26th?
25th, I think.
25th.
In like 9 days.
He may, if the deal goes, if he flies to America, he will, but we'll see when it actually kind of completes and stuff like that. Officially, and the announcement happens, he may play in that game. But look, I think that if the takeover happens with at least a week to go, United will make the new owners will make a big splash. And I believe it will be Harry Kane, unless he's already signed for Bayern Munich. I believe that we would go and sign someone like him if they come in. We'd have signed Harry Kane this summer if we had more money. It would have already been a done deal. It would have happened. The reason we can't do it is we don't have enough money right now to get Kane 105, 110 million, plus the goalie, plus the two midfielders. There just isn't enough to spread the whole way. Unless we sell more people, and we haven't sold anybody yet. We had new owners come in and suddenly there's an extra £200 or £300 million available. We'd go and get him. So yeah, that's what would happen in my opinion. But like you were saying about challenging for the league, I agree to an extent, but not fully. Because I do believe there's a sting in the tail this summer for rivals when it comes to Man United. I believe we'll get Onana, Mount's in. I think we'll buy another midfielder of an Amrabat level. It may not be him, but somebody of that level. I think Hojlund will come into the club, and then I think there'll be another signing, and it could be a star signing after that. And if we get those 5 players in, I'm not saying we'll win the league next year, but I think we'll challenge. I think we'll be 15 points better next year. And
with Hojlund starting as your striker?
Yes, I think we will be.
I don't think Hojlund's shown enough to say that he's going to be able to lead your line to a title race.
I think, but it's not just about him. So I think with the signings we're making, we could be about 15 points better next year. That puts us into a title race.
I understand that, but in the same sentence, I'm looking at the main guy that you're looking at as your goal scorer to connect your attack, and I just haven't seen enough from him. You're looking at Mason Mount. Of course, I rate Mason Mount, and I think he's going to improve your squad, but I don't think he's going to improve your squad that much to the point where your midfield is going to be that much better than it was with Eriksson. And yes, your goalkeeper is going to be a huge addition. The only real huge addition I view so far is the goalkeeper. I think Rasmus Hojlund, for the price you guys are looking to pay, it's a little bit too much in my opinion. And you guys are overpaying for a player who hasn't shown enough experience, or
What are we paying for him?
you guys are paying for his potentially.
Yeah, but what's the price that you've read? Because they're saying they want 85 million, but Man United are stating they're not going to pay anywhere near that.
What are you willing to pay? 50?
So I reckon it'll end up being around 50.
That's still, think about it. Balogun could go for less than 50, and he scored 20 goals last season. This guy scored 9 goals in the Serie A last season.
But Balogun's not wanted by one of the biggest clubs in the world who are in the Champions League at this moment in time. Equally, you guys spent 50 million pounds. And by the way, I'm praising you here. Arsenal spent 50 million pounds on a very young, up and coming defender in Ben White. Why is it weird and too much money to spend on a young, up and coming striker? Strikers are far more expensive than defenders typically. He's highly rated. He's got a good goal scoring pedigree as he's moving through. All the scouting reports, everything you read about him is highly positive for his future. I don't think 50 million pound in 2023 for one of the best young strikers in Europe is too much money.
You're paying for a lot of his potential, and really and truly, he doesn't guarantee you anything at this moment in time. 20 years old, yes, he could potentially become really good, but in the same breath, you're paying 50 million pounds starting him up front for another player who you can consider the same level as Amad Diallo, basically, for when you paid for him. It's just
Amad Diallo didn't have the same level of experience that.
No, but I'm saying the same level of risk financially.
But it isn't. But Diallo cost 18 million. Okay, and it can go to 37 million with the right amount of appearances for Man United, but he hasn't had them as of yet. And he was a lot cheaper, Amad Diallo, because he had barely any game time in his career at that point and was about 3 years younger than Hojlund is when we signed him. So it's a very different scenario altogether. For me, though, as I said, it isn't just about signing Rasmus Hojlund. I said about getting him. I mentioned 2 midfielders. I mentioned the goalkeeper, and I mentioned another star, i.e. a Harry Kane type player. I still think Man United have that in them this summer, especially if that transfer, if the ownership takeover goes through. So I'm very excited about what Manchester United are doing. I just want the ownership to go. Let's get some more of these super chats here. First one says, mate, you've got to stop bringing up the Qataris when talking about this season. Plus, if you include a striker, there will be goals pulled from everywhere Ronaldo's season. But this is not necessarily true. People have said this about Bruno Fernandes in the Man United team for years. He's just taking goals off other people. That only makes sense if we don't increase the amount of goals that we score as a team. So last season, as an example, Manchester United scored in the Premier League just 58 goals. You compare that to Arsenal, who scored 88, 94 from Man City. Newcastle scored 68. Liverpool, 75. Brighton scored 72 goals compared to our 58. So the only way that makes sense, my friend, is if next season Hojlund scores 25 goals, but we only score 58 goals as a team. If Hojlund bangs in 20 goals and our team has gone and scored 80 goals next season, then he has grown the amount of goals we scored exponentially. So Bruno Fernandes, when he came in, when he was scoring 30 odd goals a season, he didn't take 30 goals from other people. The team improved its goal scoring by about 37%. So again, your point only makes sense if we don't score more goals as a team, my friend. So yeah, I disagree with that completely. Hojlund needs another season to see how good he is going to be. I understand with that, and I don't think he's going to be the finished article year one, but I believe he'll be a better player for us than what we've had from Martial this year. He's going to be better than what Weghorst was, and he'll improve us. And like I've said, all the little improvements from him, the midfield, and the goalkeeper, I believe Man United, who finished on 75 points last season, will be near the 90-point mark this year. And I believe 90 points this season will put you into a title race.
But you're paying 50 million for a backup, you're saying, right? That's nothing's wrong with that.
We're not paying 50 million for a backup. We're paying 50 million pound for a highly talented young striker who has got a bright future that could become the main number 9 at Man United in the future. The other strikers we're looking at, like Kane's, are at the latter end of their career. So there's room for both, you know. I wouldn't say it's a backup. I believe it's someone for the future, personally.
Fair enough.
Ben White was Prem proven. No, I understand you. But he's also a defender, and defenders are typically half the price of attackers. So again, like I said, one of the best young strikers in Europe. I don't think 50 million pounds in 2023 is an exorbitant amount of money to be spending on someone that's rated as highly as him. Yes, Terry, but this is a striker you're bringing in. I don't believe the goals of the team will increase with the inclusion of Mount and Bruno dropping deep. Oh, that's cool. So let's have a little bet now then, bruv. I guarantee you next season, Man United score at least 20 more goals in the Premier League. So at least 20 more. We'll score at least 78 goals in the Premier League next year.
Is that without Harry Kane?
That's what we'll score next year. We will score more goals next season, in my opinion.
No, but his point changes if you bring in Harry Kane. He's basically saying if Rasmus
Hojlund... Well, I'm just making a bet. He can, if Harry Kane comes in, we'll wipe the bet off and the bet don't exist. But if we just bring in Rasmus Hojlund, I still believe we'll score at least 20 more goals in the Premier League next year. I don't believe we'll score... we actually, barring Aston Villa on 51, we were the lowest goal scorers in the top half of the league last season. That's
Really?
not going to happen. We had so many games we dominated. We just didn't kill games off.
Yeah, your defense was good.
One of the only games all season where we smashed was Chelsea, but we'll do more of that next season, in my opinion. Personally, that's what I think we will do. Moving on from Manchester United, I wanted to ask.